I 29F, and my husband 44M, have been together for 5 years and married for 2. I met him at the church I started going to when I moved cities to start my career. I work for an insurance company and he a pastor. I know that we have a notable age gap, but he was always kind to me and made me feel special. Anyhow, a week ago he came home and told me we needed to talk. He told me through tears that he had been having an affair with one of our community members 34F, and that she had been pregnant with twins. She had gone into labor. She and one of the twins died and the other is in the NICU. He said we need to step up and that he wants me to turn my office into a nursery and set up a cot in the room so we can take turns. I became distressed and told him I wanted some time to think, that I was not sure I wanted to do this. He told me that I had made a vow to him in marriage and that God had blessed us with a child, that this is our cross to bear and that God will never give us something we cannot handle. I told him that it seemed God had given her more than she could handle because she had died. I know I should not have, but I was not thinking correctly. He slapped me and told me that I needed to serve my husband, that God had chosen me as this child mother and I needed to be his humble servant. I just feel so strange. Yesterday I cried so hard I threw up. This woman died, yet I feel bad for myself. I feel so ugly. I wanted children and was saving for IVF because I am infertile. But now that I have a chance to have a child and I do not want it, I feel like I be robbing its mother's grave. I pray to God, but if I being honest, it never felt like anyone was ever listening. I feel like I have truly seen my husband and he no longer looks kind. He looks his age and very tired. I want to abandon him and the child. I only 29. I can start over. I have a remote job. I can take a day off when he goes to the NICU, pack my essentials and leave. Neither him nor the child deserve this, and although this is my circus, that is not my monkey. Small update in comments. I just wanna thank y'all for the support. I'm still processing this all, and I just need a little time. I don't feel unsafe, just unloved, just not enough. My husband did apologize for slapping me and continues to express regret, but he can take it back, just as he cannot take back impregnating another woman which ultimately killed her. I'm just feeling so disillusioned with my whole life right now. I know I should leave. I know that there is a world out there that will not treat me like this, but I am scared of change. I am working on a plan to leave and getting my ducks in a row for when I am ready to go, but I am not sure when I would leave if I choose to. Many expressed that I should make a report to the police about him slapping me, and they're probably right. But that would likely cause me more problems than it would be worth. If I leave, it might make him want to contest the divorce more, and if I stay it would cause more tension. I've been working on my left hook though because I won't let him get away with it again. I'm not violent myself, but I'm down for a tussle, because although I'm hurt, I am angry. I'm not sure if there will be an update because I'm still unsure. I can make all the plans in the world, but the change scares me almost as much as bending to his will. I've been praying about it, but I see no clear answers or guidance. I don't know. Funny thing, I'm jealous of the people saying that this is fake. It's like I want my life to be like it was 2 weeks ago. I could read the crazy story on the internet and think, wow, that's crazy, seems kind of fake, and keep scrolling and go about my life. Only I can scroll away in real life because that's just not how life works. I don't owe anyone proof of my life tragedies, least of all strangers on the internet whom I will never meet. I do thank all who have given support. I wish I could tell you I packed my bags and left his sorry ass, but I'm not strong enough to yet. It's not that easy to do in real life as it turns out. Odd. Update 1. I left. If that all you wanted to know, there it is. For those of you who asking how the other woman died, I get it. I invited you into my business. It was an amniotic fluid embolism. I don't know much about those, but I guess when they happen things go wrong really, really fast. We lived in a more rural area, so they just weren't ready for something like that to happen. I didn't leave right away, as I know now that I should have. It just was and that easy. I stayed for 2 months. I knew if I did not at least try to make it work I would not be able to live with it. Not because I wanted to save my marriage, but because what ifs keep me up at night enough as is. I went to marriage counseling with my husband, but it was ultimately fruitless. Of course it was Christian counseling, I felt like their goal was for me to forgive him rather than actually trying to help me. I was so utterly alone during that time. My parents and brother are also very religious, so even though they weren't happy with my husband, they kept urging me to do what a good Christian wife would do. I spent so much time suffering in my own head that I began to realize that I was just going through the motions, doing what I thought people expected of me. I entered a state of derealization for a time, and that was an absolute mind FCK. The feeling of nothing being real, not even myself, was horrible. During this period my husband brought his baby home, and while he tried to split the cares 50-50 at first, he ultimately didn't trust me to look after the baby because I was lost in space, so he ended up being the primary provider. When I was with the baby, all I could think about was how its existence ruined my life. It'd look at me with big blue eyes and I would just wish it would disappear. I would actively spend time resenting a baby. There was a time when I was thinking to myself, and I wished it would stop breathing. That was when I knew that I needed to leave. I was blaming a baby and wishing ill upon it, and that was not okay to do. I don't remember much about this time besides that it mostly a blur otherwise. I sought services through my work to talk to a therapist, and I eventually came back to earth. She helped me make a plan. At no point did I fear my husband. I truly believe the slap was a one-off event. However, screw him, he deserved closure. On a night he had a long Bible study, he always took his baby with him because he didn't trust me. I packed my essentials and dipped. I met him pretty quickly after college, so I did not have much to take as far as furnishings. I fit everything I wanted in 3 suitcases and 4 moving boxes. It all fit into my SUV. After some mediocre Tetra skills, I was able to change my phone number online before I left, but I did leave the divorce papers under his pillow with my lawyer contact info. Kind of like the Tooth Fairy but for adults assholes. I was the breadwinner. In my state we were not married long enough for me to pay spousal maintenance. At least that is what my lawyer said. I own my vehicle outright. We had our own bank accounts and a shared expenses account. We filed taxes separately, and the church owns the house. He being an ass about it all, but I hoping it should be done soon. I got a decent apartment in a city a few hundred miles away. I.e. never lived in a city this big before. Everything is so expensive, but besides that I like it. I found a new therapist, met some new friends, and found a new church with loving people. I still have my days, but for the most part I content. I think it will always hurt on some level, but I working on taking my power back. I turn 30 next month, and I am hopeful it will be the start of my best decade yet. I'm honestly kind of shocked that OOP's ex was okay with separate finances. Doesn't seem to fit the profile, but it's a stroke of good luck for OOP. That was the first story, and now we are going to listen to today's second story. My ex and I were married for well over 5 years and together for 10. His mother was a nightmare. She would spend her time belittling me and tried humiliating me. I could take it as I loved my husband and didn't want to make him choose between her or me. Of course I would always tell him what she would be doing, and he would always brush it off as her being a loving and overprotecting mom. When she would say something racist, I am Hispanic and they are white, he would laugh it off. When she would make a comment of me being a gold digger even though I earned more than my ex, he would just say, "Oh mom." He would also get mad at me if I ever stood up for myself. But the straw that broke the camel's back is when we had our daughter. My Amile would always try to parent her and say that I would do something wrong. My daughter has an irritable colon and she cannot ingest any kind of fucking oils or artificial things. And guess what that loony of a woman did? She fed my 3-year-old daughter essential oils. She is not anti-vax, just very stupid to make her go to sleep. She was in the ICU. I had it and I confronted my husband, who said she only did what she thought was best. I lost it. I went to my parents and drafted a divorce agreement. That's the best course of action. I saw a post earlier describing a situation that is much more dangerous than mine, involving allergens and an EpiPen. His face was like that Pikachu meme when I served him. He didn't know why I was doing that because we were happy. So now a year has passed and my life was hell. My monster-in-law tried every dirty trick in the book to take my daughter, to name a few. She accused my brother of molesting her. She accused me of neglect. She accused me of taking drugs and leaving them in reach of a toddler. I take thyroxine, for heaven's sake. She accused me of endangering my daughter by leaving a random man in my house. The list goes on. During this time the excuse of my ex was that I broke his heart and I had to understand his mother. She only wants what's best for him. Luckily I got good representation and even got my daughter full-time minus some weekends or visitation. I could prove that my daughter was endangered by his mother. So now to the advice part. I knew that my ex needed to be permanently in my life because of my daughter, and I was learning to live with that. He was very cold with me because again I broke his heart. Now two things have come together. My ex-BIL got married to an African American woman, so of course my ex-MIL flipped. I started dating again. My ex-BIL is a great guy and he actually stood up for his wife. Go figure. It is possible. I stay in contact with him because we are friends and he was a mediator and fought with his brother quite often. So my BIL actually stood up for his wife and my ex-husband got his panties in a twist. My BIL basically opened his eyes to how shitty he was being and that their mom treated me the same way she treated his wife. And finally my dense ex started understanding. The guy I am seeing is great. I have even met his parents and his mother is normal. She treats me like a human being and has invited me already to many family functions and tries to make me and my daughter feel welcomed. My ex got wind from the situation through a mutual friend and guess who is now flipping his shit. He started bringing flowers and chocolate. I don't even like chocolate. To pick up our daughter. He sends me cards and SMS with hearts and who knows what. Yesterday was the best thing. My daughter was at my mother's place and I was at home with my boyfriend. He appears in front of my door crying and clutching my engagement ring begging me to come back. I said no and that he should go away. He wouldn't and started demanding that I come out to talk to him. My boyfriend told him that he would call the police and in this pathetic fashion he threatened to beat my boyfriend up. I closed the door and let him pound sand. Today he picked up my daughter for a day trip and when they came back my daughter was asking if I loved my boyfriend more than her. Now I am at a loss to what to do. I already told my daughter that it wasn't possible because my love for her is infinite and there is nothing bigger than infinite. But now I know that my ex is trying to make my daughter hate me. I am at a loss because I won't use my daughter as ammunition. But also, what the hell am I supposed to do? I will never return to that man but I can't take away the father of my daughter. Do you guys have any advice? Edit 1. Thanks you all. I needed to vent and was feeling helpless and am so thankful for you wonderful people. I talked to my lawyer who confirmed that we could have a case for domestic violence by proxy. A social worker will be visiting us in the next few days to talk to my daughter about this. Edit 2. Because apparently people want to spin the narrative on me. I don't care if he wants me back. I don't love him anymore and will never get back together with him. Staying for the sake of our daughter would not make sense as it has been proven that kids grow up happier in divorced homes than unhappy homes. I tried talking to my husband when we were still married and he would always brush it off. He would brush off everything his mother did. I complained to him and told him we needed go to therapy which he declined. He has his daughter on the weekends. The court gave me majority custody because of his mother. Jesus guys, I guess in some of y'all's eyes I should have kept being by my ex's side as a submissive bimbo. Update 1. I just posted here yesterday but it feels like weeks have happened. So I have just left my daughter with my mother and am going to my lawyer again. I followed some advice you guys gave me and we sat down with my daughter to chit chat. We knew we couldn't prompt any kind of responses by asking overly specific questions as per her therapist. So my mother asks my daughter, let's call her Kat. Kat, what do you and daddy talk about? And Kat just listed many toddler things like she talks about kindergarten, games, etc. When I was kind of relieved that that comment my ex made yesterday may just be a one-off, came the big bomb. He also shows me pictures of houses and tells me I can have now 2 rooms with loads of stuff. I ask if her dad is buying a new house. Nope. Turns out that nut wants to take my daughter out of the country. He shows her pictures of beach houses and even bought her a bag so she can put her stuff inside it, which explains why so many of her clothes have gone missing. At first I thought that maybe my ex hadn't told me yet because it hadn't come through. But no, he told my daughter to keep this as a secret because mommy would get sad what if she knew that daddy was going away? So I am f***ing livid, and also sad because I will have to tell my daughter no. Once again I feel lost. Edit. I talked to my lawyer and we have taken measures that I can't discuss here, but we are on it. I have my daughter's passport as we flew last month to visit extended family. Also I am a US citizen, so even if my ex-MIL tried to have me deported, that wouldn't be possible. Update 2. So I thought of giving you the last update as you helped me through this. I didn't have enough evidence to request an ex parte ACA emergency child custody, so my lawyer and I had to work on steps to prevent child abduction. We got a custody decree that included provisions including passports, travel restrictions, etc. We also had to be very wary of the signs. He in fact quit his job, and on a realtor's page, I saw that he was putting his mother's house on sale. That, in my daughter's words, was all we needed to notify law enforcement for them to keep an eye out. I couldn't prevent my daughter from seeing her father. We tried to continue business as usual without my daughter feeling something was up. I got a call from the police department regarding the passport situation. My daughter's passport had expired very recently, 5 years validity. My ex-husband had tried to request a passport for my daughter without my knowledge, which was stupid because even without the decree, I had to be present or submit a notarized document of me stating that he could request the passport. After that, things actually went very fast. He was investigated because he violated the decree, and it was found out that MIL had bought 3 tickets with no return date to Mexico. I could request an ex parte. After a shit ton of documents I submitted it. In most cases the judge will evaluate behind closed doors. We had the hearing yesterday. It takes usually 10 to 20 days, which was very good for me. ATM. I have sole custody for my daughter. This is all temporary. My ex has visitation rights if I was present, but he can take her anywhere. This is once the investigation of him is closed. I was cursed out by my ex and ex-MIL, and they said they will try to contest this, but they have no leg to stand on. My daughter will continue in therapy, especially after this. I will not prohibit him from seeing her, but he needs help. This was really scary and a very intense 2 weeks. I don't think that I will update again, but I wanted to thank you all for your tips and support. I am really thankful as I am finally not anxious the whole time. Thank you really much. OOP's idiotic husband allowed his harpy of a mother to play him out of an entire marriage, and now allowed her to play him out of seeing his child unsupervised. That man doesn't have the sense he was born with, because, apparently, MIL keeps that sense in her purse. May the pair of them wind up alone with only each other for companionship. No innocent person deserves to deal with these pillocks. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Red Relationships to never miss a future upload.